suffering. This is a traditional understanding among Buddhist devotees. Meditation, when properly and systematically applied, can improve the mental condition and mental well-being. This is clearly said by the Buddha more than 26 centuries ago. To quote the words said by the Buddha, I would like to quote so that you can appreciate what Buddha has said. Now here's the quote. Naham bhikkhve inyam eka dhammam bhi samanu asami ya evam abhavita mahado nathaya samudaya abhavitam bhikkhve citta mahado nathaya samudaya. This means that, disciple, I don't see anything else which can bring harms to oneself, like undeveloped mind. Undeveloped mind can bring a lot of harms to an individual being. These words come from a major Buddhist text called the Anguttara Nikaya, collection of the sutras, which means gradual sayings of the Buddha. The wisdom of the Buddha is so very deep, and what he taught is always applicable. His teachings are based on practicality, logic, wisdom, and practical benefits. Regarding mental development and mental training, Buddha's teaching is far ahead of modern psychology. Buddha's mental development technique and mental training method are far ahead of time. It is always far ahead of science. The more we get closer and investigate Buddha's teaching, we can clearly see the profound depth of the Buddha's wisdom. In today's time, especially in the Western countries, you see a lot of rich people. They have everything at their disposal. Any wish or any urge, any desire they have can be entertained and satisfied by means of material things and material pleasure. Very often you may hear and you may see in the news about the wealthy people having big problems with the relationships, big problems with the inability to control their desire in their mind. As a result, they go into ugly scenario, ugly problems. This clearly shows that material wealth and material well-being alone is not enough in life. And Buddha's teaching, life is composed of the mind and body. Through the mind, we live this life on spiritual plane and on a spiritual level. With the body, we live this very life on the physical level, on the material dimension. Both mind and body always interact. But the mind or the consciousness plays the dominant role when the mind is peaceful. The body too peaceful. When the mind is agitated, the body is agitated. When the mind is polluted with unwholesome and negative mental states, such as anger, uncontrollable desire, and mental anguish, you can see people suffering a lot. When people have positive mental states, such as a calm mind or goodwill, or generosity, you can see people with a smiling face and calm behavior. The way they conduct is very much peaceful. Most people in the world, they don't know the proper training, proper development of the mind or consciousness. Meditation techniques explained and described in Buddhist texts are broad and detailed. Most meditations can benefit the meditator, but not everyone is the same. Everybody has different characteristics and different tendencies. Based on their personal characteristic and tendency, meditations can be applied. Buddha, in his time, has the wonderful, unique capacity to clearly penetrate into the inner hidden tendency of an individual. This kind of capacity is called asya-anusya jnana, the ability to know an individual's deeply grained, deeply grounded, inherent tendencies and preference. This ability to see others' mind in its deeper level is almost impossible for ordinary people, ordinary person, among billions and billions of people. Only Buddha possessed this capacity. Because he possessed this capacity, he can keep the proper meditation according to the individual characteristic of a person. So Buddha is very successful meditation teacher in his time, incomparable and matchless, and guiding and leading people and living beings all the way to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. He saved countless living beings from the endless cycle of suffering. Mental development is not to be done by auto-suggestion or by any kind of acquired knowledge which is based on non-factual, unreal things. For example, we human beings always wish ourselves to be solid, substantial, and eternal. We always want something permanent, something beautiful, something pleasant. Most people in the world, they always pursue happiness based on their own notion, such as wonderful and pleasant material things are the source of happiness. They're trying to acquire those material things, trying to focus on material pleasure. Mental pleasure and mental joy, mental peace is more enduring and lasting. Any pleasure, any joy, which one can get out of material thing, is called the upakilesa sukha in Buddhist text. And here I would like to mention two categories of joy and happiness. One is unadulterated, pure happiness, which is called upakilesa sukha in Pali. The second category of joy and happiness is called anupakilesa sukha. In order to understand the nature of happiness, I would like to explain these Pali terms so that you can simply understand and remember it. The first one in Pali is called upakilesa sukha. It is a compound noun, a combination of three words, upa plus kilesa plus sukha. Upa means related, associated closely. Kilesa, stressful things, pollutants. Sukha, happiness. Happiness that is associated with stress and pollution. So even though one may be happy and joyous for a certain period of time, for example, when people go to the club, dancing and singing and drinking all night, you can see nowadays that joy is not lasting. So in order to prolong, in order to get an abundant sense of the joy, some people even use drugs such as Fantani and various kind of drugs available on today's time. Those drugs can make a person feel high, but they have a lot of very dangerous side effects on the body, on the brain. Anyone got into the habit of using drugs in search of joy and happiness, they become very miserable people. They got addicted to drugs. They keep using it because the euphoria and joy generated by the drug is not lasting. It is a very sad cycle of suffering. Once you understand such kind of conditions associated with the upakilesa sukha, you will understand this. So upakilesa sukha, adulterated, polluted happiness, which is not lasting and just fleeting passions and fleeting excitement. They don't last long. They need to acquire and search after it again and again through material means, by buying drug, by going to club, or by getting any material source of happiness. On the other hand, the second category of sukha, nirupakilesa sukha, unadulterated, pure and plain happiness, is much more wonderful and lasting. It has no unnecessary side effect. It has no maintaining cost. You don't need to buy it. You don't need to maintain it in order to get that happiness. You have to have keen interest and committed to spiritual training and spiritual development. So upakilesa sukha, let me explain what they are. Upakilesa sukha means all form of happiness based on material things which are generated by satisfying one's physical senses, physical desires through material things and physical things. Nirupakilesa sukha means spiritual bliss, which can be developed through proper and systematic mind training, known as mindfulness meditation. These two kinds of happiness are very different. The first is based on material, and the soul is material thing. The second kind of happiness is spiritual. The soul is the mind itself. For ordinary laymen who have no familiarity with the meditation, it may sound weird and strange. How can one feel happy by mind as an agent and using the mind as a source? But real peace and real joy, Buddha says, come from inside, not from outside. From inside, you can get lasting peace. Buddha said in one of the discourse that an individual is a small world, a small planet. An individual human being or any living being feels suffering and joy in his inner being, composed of the five aggregates. The external things, including our families and friends and those loved ones and all external things, are external world. The real peace and joy is to be such and to be experienced in oneself, in one's own mind, in one's own individual being. These words are said by the Buddha. In this statement, Buddha clearly defined two kinds of world, internal world and external world. Internal world is our own world. An individual human being, where his own consciousness go through the process of peace and commotion, pain and pleasure, happiness and unhappiness. That's why I want to develop the method to attain the lasting peace. In order to gain the lasting peace, one need to base on one's own mental training. Mental training is very delicate and very tricky. You need to understand the nature of mind if you are training the mind. The nature of mind, Buddha said, is very fast. It always functions very fast. How fast the consciousness arises and passes is even very difficult to measure. To measure the scientific instrument. There's no instrument to measure the speed of mind. And the physical science, the speediest and the quickest and the fastest things are the speed of light, the speed of sound. Those are physical things. The light is also physical phenomena, and the sound is also physical phenomena. The mind is much more faster than those things. In one of the discourses, Buddha even said, quote, Lopri Buddha midam bhikkhue chitta, yawanjira na sukra upama pikato. Disciple, this mind functions in rapid succession of speed. It is almost impossible to make an analogy or metaphorical comparison and measuring the speed of mind. This clearly shows that mind is the fastest functioning energy in an individual. It is also very powerful. But the most powerful thing in the world is only human consciousness, human mind. If a person succeeded in managing the mind properly and harnessing the power and potency of the mind, that person will be happiest person. That person will be a very peaceful and very happy man. That's what Buddha said. By understanding these words said by the Buddha, you will understand the importance of the mental training. Once you understand the importance of mental training, you also need to understand the benefits of the mental training. Regarding the benefits of mental training, Buddha clearly outlined in the introductory statement of the Mahastipatthana Sutta discourse. I am sure most of the meditators are familiar with those kind of benefits. Sattana Visuddhiya, purification of all living beings. Soka Prityawana Sa Matikmaya, to overcome sorrows and limitation. Dukkha Domna Sanam Atingmaya, to end physical suffering and mental suffering. Nyayasa Digmaya, to attain the noble path, to be on the noble path. Nibbanasa Sachi Kriyaya, to attain long-term peace, enduring peace known as Nibbana. These are very simple statements said by Buddha. These benefits are to be experienced by meditators. During the course of meditation, a person is taught and instructed to observe a specific object of meditation, such as inhalation, exhalation, or the rising and falling, or the body-related points and feelings and minds and mental states, a combination of mental phenomena and physical phenomena. When a person is contemplating on various objects of meditation, the most important thing he should have is right attitude. Having right attitude is very important in meditation. Most people, they rush to meditate based on their keen interest without having right attitude. And once they got the pain and they feel it's very difficult. When they have the wandering thoughts frequently happening, they find it very difficult. So what is the important key to make meditation more smooth and successful? In a more simple way, a meditator needs to set aside the notions such as me and mine, various kind of the conventional notions and conventional attitudes. A meditator should have the right attitude of that having mind and body, nothing else, nothing more than front body and mind. When one starts sitting, the body sits. This is the body. And the mind precedes, in this case, intention to sit. So the intention is just only mental state, which happens very fast. How long an intention lasts is very difficult to express in mathematical terms, in mathematical calculation. So intention or desire or wish precedes action. But we never have this kind of idea, this kind of understanding. We only thought, I'm going to sit, I walk, I stand, etc. There's always I. They try to put I am, me into every action they used to do in daily life. In meditation, this conventional notion has to be temporarily stopped. During meditation, forget about who you are and what you are doing. You forget about your names and your profound notions of conventional thinking. The moment you start your meditation, you just note, you just understand that there are only two things: the mental phenomena and physical phenomena, which synchronize in every moment of arising and passing. Once you have this kind of right attitude and right understanding, meditation will be smooth. It will proceed progressively. In the initial phase of meditation, a meditator has to struggle with the wandering thoughts, and with the pains, and with keeping the mind focused on the object of meditation. Regarding wandering thoughts, a person has to understand clearly that the mind is just only a material energy state, which is continuously prolonged, continuously sustained by continual beating of the heart. The moment the heart stops beating, then that consciousness, that spiritual flow, which is arising and passing continuously in the body, will stop. By understanding this, you will have a very humble feeling that our existence and our consciousness is just only a precarious state. Our body is also the same thing. Both consciousness and body are sustained by the unseen energy, unseen force known as karma energy, karmic force. Even though there are other conditioning factors, such as the food, and atmospheric conditions, other consciousness, and also genetic heritage. When a meditator have this clear understanding that the individual is only composed of the mind and body, such as Robert and John, it's just only term and a conventional reference used for purpose of referencing when communicating with each other. We don't need to hold on to it during the meditation. During meditation, the mind should be transformed into meditative consciousness, which doesn't belong to anyone. In the same way, all the frequent wandering thoughts, the pains and various kind of sensations are just only phenomena. When a meditator can contemplate those two mental phenomena and physical phenomena as an objective phenomena, which is free from any name such as Robert and June, then he will be able to move along his spiritual path. He will be able to meditate. The moment wandering thoughts arise, that knowing mind, the meditative mind, will clearly see it as the flash of wandering thoughts. And that meditator, that individual will be able to let go, letting go of their wandering thoughts is very important. Being able to let go those kind of wandering thoughts, one will be able to continue focusing on the primary object of meditation. Some meditators, they may even talk within their wandering thought process. They may be doing this and that. They may get angry. They may be worrying about their family members. Even though their mind is doing such kind of silent action, those actions cannot benefit anyone. It is useless. A dissipation and scattering of the mental energy. We cannot hold on to our thoughts, those thoughts. Instead, we simply aware wandering thought as wandering thought. Another example I want to mention regarding this is when we breathe in, when we breathe out, the air got into the nostril and the air got out. Every moment of breathing is a prolongation and continuation of our life. Because breathing is supplying of the necessary oxygen so that our bodily organs, the bloods, and all the biologic function can perform perfectly and healthily. So every moment of breathing, every breath you take, it's just only continuation of our physical life. We don't have attachment to this very special life-providing air. We simply let it in, we simply let it out. We don't have any kind of attitude, oh, this is very wonderful air. I'm grateful for providing me with the necessary oxygen and prolonging life. You don't have such kind of intentional thoughts, intentional attachment. You simply let it in, you simply let it out. You are not bothered with each incoming air and outgoing air. In the same way, when the mind wandering off, you simply aware it as wandering, and you simply let go. Later on, you will learn how to manage it. In the beginning, it may be difficult. And also in contemplating on the pain, you have to have the right attitude. Pains are part of body, part of our existence. We cannot do away with the pain. No one can do away with the pain, except for a temporary period. As long as there's the body, there will be pain. There will be sensation, pleasant sensation, unpleasant sensation. Even the Buddha and enlightened saints, they have to live through physical suffering. They can actually keep their body free from pain during the process of samadhi, a deep trance-like condition, or in a very powerful nirodha samadhi. They can keep themselves away from the pain, but once they resume normal life, they have to live through the pain. You can see such kind of instances in Buddhist texts. The purpose of Buddha's meditation is to provide the meditator with the necessary training so that the meditator can cope with pain, physical pain and physical suffering, mental pain and mental suffering. So during meditation, when a person, a meditator, experiences the pain, after a long time sitting, let's say after 15 minutes of sitting, he should have the right attitude. A meditator should have the right attitude. Pain is nobody's pain. Even though we try to claim ownership of the pain, such as I'm in having pain, the pain arises in my joint, in my back, in my head, etc. We claim ownerships of the pain. Actually, the pain doesn't belong to anyone in terms of physical ownership. It's just only a phenomenon. A meditator must contemplate on this objective phenomena objectively, without being stuck. This is me. This is my pain, etc. And also the knowing mind, the contemplative mind, it's nobody's. It doesn't belong to no one's. The meditative mind, the noting of mind and noting awareness, it's not Rovers and not June. It's just only an immaterial energy state. It has no social security number. It has no passport. It is just only a consciousness, which appears in the form of noting and contemplating. Even that noting and contemplating mind doesn't last longer than a fraction, let's say, a nanoseconds. It arises and passes very quickly. Once you understand this basic nature of things, meditator will be able to contemplate on the pain without having this kind of notions. So a meditator should drop aside me and mine, never put me and mine into experience, pain experience, or any wandering thought process. Just see it as it is. Like the way you enjoy the fresh breeze. When you are enjoying the fresh breeze come blowing through and gently touching your body, you feel a very wonderful, fresh sensation of that cool breeze. You simply let go of that. You don't attach to it. A meditator's attitude should be like that. In the initial phase of the practice, pain and wandering thoughts are two important areas of training. When a meditator has the right attitude and prepare himself with this right attitude, the meditation will be smooth and progressive. There are also other factors which a meditator needs to pay attention to. It is walking meditation. Walking meditation is like the backbone of the meditation. Without mindfulness, without walking, mindfulness meditation will not be complete. You have to learn. The meditator has to learn to practice systematic, methodical walking steps. This is very important. Buddha emphasized the importance of walking meditation. Because in walking meditation, a meditator's mind and the body are to be synchronized, and it need to be active in walking meditation. This way, mental effort and physical efforts are dominant in this practice. In sitting meditation, mental effort only is dominant. And walking meditation, a meditator has to walk according to prescribed instruction. A meditator has to contemplate on the movement of each feet by synchronizing his mindfulness with the movement of each feet. This way, the effort is more vigorous and more sustained. That's why it's much easier for meditators to develop concentration. Meditation is one of the simple and easiest method to develop concentration, to make mindfulness more stronger and more sustained. If a person's mindfulness and concentration get stronger and stronger through walking meditation, sitting meditation will be very smooth. Some meditators, even they found that they can sit for 2 hours, 3 hours continuously without feeling physical discomfort. This clearly shows how walking meditation can help you, a meditator, in many ways. So it is necessary for meditators to do walking meditations seriously and intensively, mindfully. If a meditator follows instruction of the teacher and the advice I have given in this talk, meditation will be smooth and progressive. And that meditator will be slowly experienced meditator. Meditation, Buddha said, is development of the mind. It's not subjecting the mind to various kind of pressure. In order to develop the mind and not to feel pressure during meditation, one need to have relaxed attitude. This relaxed attitude can help a meditator to progress in the practice. Regarding this relaxed attitude, a meditator needs to have the right attitude and clear understanding that one need to be relaxed in order to be mindful. In order to be mindful, one need to be relaxed. A meditator should not rush or make effort to be able to observe everything, every mental phenomena and physical phenomena. It is impossible. There may be sometimes missing points. He may not be able to observe everything. Let there be some gaps, but in progressive stage of practice, if a meditator can practice meditation without interval, without interruption, especially in maintaining mindfulness, meditation will be progressive and very quickly. That's why teachers instruct meditators to behave slowly, to do all the necessary things slowly and mindfully. The purpose of this instruction and slowing down is to make the meditator's contemplation, the noting, more continuous, and all the action and every detailed phase of an action will be noted by the meditator. Thus, mindfulness will grow continuously. It will increase much farther. Meditator can try to slow down during retreat, but sometimes it may be impossible to slow down at all times. It doesn't matter, a meditator cannot observe everything. A meditator only need to observe whatever is dominant and whatever is noticeable. When a person can meditate with uninterrupted observation, uninterrupted mindfulness, the mindfulness known as Sati Sambhojana will increase powerfully and leading to more progress. In today's talk, I trying to explain some basic aspect of the practice and basic purpose of meditation. It may be higher. A person can achieve more higher benefit, more higher positive impacts in one's mind and also in the way one lives life, in the way one views toward life and toward everything around. Because having a positive, powerful, well-trained mind is the key to make life livable. If a person has a strong, stable mind, which can live through every ups and downs of life, he will be, and that person will be a wonderful person. He can live life wonderfully and to the fullest. Buddha always compare living this human life like navigating a high sea. In the high sea, there are storms. Also, there are peaceful times and very smooth water. A person needs to be able to navigate rough sea and smooth sea. That's the purpose of meditation. I'm just use Buddha's metaphorical statement of being a navigator, a sailor on the high sea of life. May all of you be able to live through suffering and joy peacefully and with a wonderful composure. May all of you be able to learn how to train the mind and how to improve mental states in your daily life by applying mindfulness meditation. May you all be successful meditators. Okay, now question. If some of you have question, please feel free.
Anybody has question, please. Anybody question? Sayadaw is waiting at some 2-3 questions.
Please feel free to ask question so that I can clarify.
Sally Manapika, do you have any question? Sally,
Yes.
Sally Manapika, do you have questions?
We don't have any questions here at the moment.
If you have question, please feel free, because it is an opportunity to be able to communicate through the Zoom. Otherwise, it's very difficult to physically connect.
You gotta move forward a little bit. The cord is short.
Venerable Sir, my question is, the question is the second version of the happiness. I know the first one is Upakilesa, happiness or sukha. And the second one I didn't get the wording. What is the second one? That is a pure happiness and got nothing to do with material things. How the words say in Bali, how we spell.
Yeah, please make it simple. The question here, I'm on this side. I cannot clearly hear.
So just
Sarabhya, there are two
Very clear. I can hear you very clearly, but I cannot hear the other person's question.
Yes, our question is the first sukha
Uh-huh.
is clear. The second type of dukkha happiness is not very clear. Please explain
Oh,
again.
no, the wording, the spelling.
Oh, the wording, the spelling of the second one.
Yeah.
What is this?
Okay, then. The first word is upakilesa sukha. Upa is a prefix. Kilesa is the root.
Correct.
Sukha is happiness, the modifying word. Upakilesa sukha, happiness associated with the stress and pain and contamination. The second sukha is nirupakilesa sukha.
Nirupa.
Yes. Ni means without. Ni means without.
Okay.
Ni means without. Ni is this is a double prefix. Ni is a one prefix. Upa is second prefix. Ni upakilesa sukha. Ni upakilesa sukha is much more easier for you. Ni and upa are two prefix. Ni means without. Upa is like the first prefix. So in between the ni and u and r, a consonant r is inserted. This is the way the Pali grammatical procedures use. So ra is inserted. In Buddha's ancient time, people use their language nirupakilesa sukha. Ni means without, upakilesa sukha. The happiness without any stress, happiness without any pain, happiness without any contamination.
Thank you.
If no one asks a question, may I ask one more?
Is there more question? Is there more question? Some people.
She got one more question.
I would like the advice on how to deal with food. I'm having trouble like in the retreat setting, there are so many good food. And what kind of way I should try, to be able to overcome, not to go through the thing that when I eat is not very good for my meditation. Like certain food is absolutely not suitable for me. But the cook here are very good. And the food are of my liking. And I find, that's why I try not to come at the meal time. but today my right cannot accommodate me. So because I need to face the reality of not eating at home all the time, how could I deal with it? What kind of way I should do? Please translate me. Thank you.
Probably she's asking the right attitude towards the good food during the time of retreat. There are so many.
Oh,
kinds of
very,
food.
very, very relevant question. Because the food is our daily needs. Eating is daily ritual. Everybody has to perform this daily ritual of eating breakfast, eating lunch, and eating dinner. Our attitude toward food is mostly based on both biological needs and our desires. When a person eat the food to just provide necessary nutrients and to prolong life, it is much easier to handle and develop right attitudes. But if we are always based on craving and desire, it's very difficult to control the eating. It's very difficult to develop the right attitudes. That's why Buddha instructed to disciple to eat with the reflection, to eat with the right mental attitude. This is having right attitude is very important in eating. That's why Buddha said, you must eat the food. And before you eat the food, you have to have the proper understanding and proper mental keeping, proper mind keeping. How? What kind of attitude? I may eating this food not to define, not to fatten, not to indulge, but to sustain life, to prolong it, to provide necessary nutrients so that one can do many wholesome things to benefit oneself, to benefit others. And by eating, the hunger will be removed. By avoiding overeating and unhealthy eating, one will be healthy and keep oneself fit. That's just only brief interpretation of the word said by the Buddha. Once you have this understanding and this proper reflection, slowly, you will be able to develop the right attitude toward the food. For example, chocolate and the best tasty food in the world. Most people, they feel craving for those food. And the moment they eat, and they keep eating. And this way they got into problem. Many problems, such as the high blood sugar, high blood pressures, high cholesterol, and other food-related health problems. Because desire overwhelms them, no wisdom. Buddha has always encouraged to use wisdom in everyday life. If we can live life being guided by wisdom, that is the best life we can live. Buddha said, Panya Jiwa Jivita Mahu Siddha. A life being guided by wisdom is the most noble life of all. A life being carried by desire and emotions is also poorly lived life. We must understand what Buddha said. This way, you can develop right attitude. Other method is also to observe the eating process with mindfulness, to eat mindfully. Mindfulness eating is the most wonderful eating. I have an experience. Due to my mindfulness eating, since I was younger days, I can eat only healthy food. Even though that food may not be tasty, I just only choose the right food, the healthy food, with the nutrients, so that I remain healthy, so that I remain long, healthy life. And I can do many good things for myself and for other people. So you can develop right attitudes by reflecting and by having wisdom.
Sarabia, there is a question from the New Zealand, Ms. Shan Chu from New Zealand asking question now. Yeah.
Okay, please go ahead. Please go
အရှင်
ahead.
ဖေတပည့်တော်ဗမာလိုဟိုရှောက်လို့ရပါမလားဖေ
Yeah.
အရှင်ဖေဟိုဝေဒနာဒုက္ခဝေဒနာကိုဟိုပြင်းပြင်းထန်ထန်ဟိုရှုမှတ်နေချိန်မှာဟိုအတ္တကိုမပါအောင်ဘယ်လိုရှုမှတ်ရပါမလဲများသောအားဖြင့်ကတော့ဒုက္ခဝေဒနာကိုရှုမှတ်ရင်ခံစားရပါတယ်ဖေခံစားရတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုခံစားရတယ်ဆိုတာကပါနေပါတယ်ပါနေတဲ့ခါကျတော့ခံလို့မရဘူးဖေခံလို့မရတဲ့ခါကျတော့ဆက်မှတ်တဲ့ခါကျတော့ခံစားရလေဖြစ်တဲ့ခါကျတော့တခါတော့ကမေ့လဲသွားပါတယ်ဖေဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒီဟိုအတ္တမပါဘဲနဲ့ဒါဝေဒနာပဲပြီးတော့မှတ်စိတ်နဲ့ဝေဒနာပဲကြံ့နေအောင်ဘယ်လိုမှတ်ရပါမလဲဖေ
ဒီလိုဖြစ်တာကဘုန်းကြီးတော်တော့ပြောခဲ့ပြီးသားပါပဲမှန်တိုင်းပြောရင်ဒီလိုဖြစ်သွားတော့ဝေဒနာကိုဆွဲနေလို့ပါဝေဒနာကိုမသိစိတ်ကလေးကဆွဲနေတယ်အဲ့ဒီမသိစိတ်ကလေးကဆွဲနေတာလူပထမတော့ကိုယ်သိတဲ့စိတ်ကတော့စဉ်းစားနေတာပေါ့ဘုန်းတို့အခုခေတ်စိတ်ပညာအရာပြောရမယ်ဆိုတော့မသိစိတ်နဲ့သိစိတ်တော့လွန်ဆွဲနေတာပေါ့သိစိတ်ကတော့ငါတရားထုတ်နေတယ်ငါတရားထုတ်နေတယ်မသိစိတ်ကလေးကလည်းအဲ့ဒီဝေဒနာကိုဆွဲကပ်နေတယ်ငါတရားထုတ်နေတဲ့စိတ်ကငါမပါအောင်ကြိုးစားတယ်ရှုမှတ်တဲ့စိတ်ကလေးပဲကြံဖို့ကိုယ်ကိုလည်းအာရုံပြုတယ်ဒါကြောင့်တစ်ချက်ကမသိစိတ်ကလည်းဟောဖြစ်နေတယ်ဘုန်းကြီးတို့ဘုရားတရားတော်ရပြောရင်တော့ပြီးမှတရားပြောရင်တော့အဲ့ဒါကအလွန်သိမ်မွေ့တဲ့ဥပါဒံလေးကနာကျင်တာကိုအဲ့နာကျင်တဲ့ဝေဒနာကိုခံစားနေသူငါလေးကပါနေလို့ဖြစ်တာခံစားသူပုဂ္ဂိုလ်မရှိအလွန်နာကျင်ကြိုက်ခဲခြင်းဝေဒနာရဲ့အဲ့ဒီနာကျင်ကြိုက်ခဲမှုကိုသိရှိနေတဲ့ဒီအသိစိတ်ရှုမှတ်နေတဲ့အသိစိတ်တွေပဲရှိတယ်ဆိုရင်ဖြည်းဖြည်းချင်းနဲ့တော့ overcome ဖြစ်တော့ပါလိမ့်မယ်ဘာလို့လဲဆိုတော့ဘုန်းကြီးတို့ဒါ guarantee တော့ပေးလို့မရဘူးဒါပေမဲ့များသောအားဖြင့်တော့ဘုန်းတို့အတွေ့အကြုံကတော့အောင်မြင်ပါတယ်တတိဘုဇင်ကတက်လာပြီတတိဘုဇင်ကတက်တဲ့ခါမှာလဲဥပ္ပယတော်ဏိတော်ဖြူမပါဘူးဥပ္ပယတော်ဖြူခံစားနေတာလည်းမပါဘူးငါလည်းမပါဘူးလို့ဆိုရအောင်ပြောတာပါအဲ့ဒါမှပို့ပြီးတော့မှတ်လို့အဆင်ပြေပါတယ်ဘုန်းကြီးတို့နမူနာလေးတစ်ခုပြောမယ်ဆိုတော့ဘုန်းကြီး29လောက်ကဒီမှာ29လောက်ကဘုံဆောင်ဝဲပြုကဆောင်ဝဲဖြစ်တော့နှစ်ပုံခွဲလောက်ပြီးတဲ့ခါမှာပြီးတော့ပြီးကဖြစ်တဲ့ခါမှာအာကုံအောင်နဲ့နှစ်မှာခေါင်းတွေတအားစထိုးတော့ခေါင်းကနေရွက်တွေပါလှုပ်နှခုံးနေလည်းလှုပ်ကိုတက်တဲ့မြန်မာကြီးမှာလှုပ်သေမတော်ထင်ရတယ်ဒါနဲ့အင်္ဂလိပ်စီဆရာဝန်တွေသွားပြတော့ဆရာဝန်တွေကပေးရသူတို့ပေးတဲ့စီတွေကစပြီးလူကလေးနေတာတနေ့ကုန်အဲ့ရတယ်လဲကျင်နေတာအဲ့တော့မဖြစ်ဘူးလို့တပတ်လောက်နေတဲ့ခါကျတော့ဒီစီအာကွင်းနေတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒုက္ခရောက်ပါပဲလို့ဖြစ်တယ်။ဒီကောင်ဘယ်တော့မှဘာကြောင့်ဒုက္ခမှလို့ဆိုတော့အခါလေးကိုခေါ်နေကြလူတွေတွေ့နေကြလူတွေကလေးတွေနာမည်တွေတော့မှတ်မိတော့အဲ့လိုဖြစ်လာတယ်။အဲ့ဒီမှာဘုန်းကမရှိဘူးတရားပဲအကူတော်မယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့ကိုအငယ်အထုတဲ့တရားပဲအကူတော်မယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့သိရင်လည်းသိပြီးတော့ဆိုပြီးတော့တရားကိုဆွဲမြဲနေသိရင်လည်းသိပြီးဆိုတော့စိတ်နဲ့ရှုမှတ်တာ။ကဲဒီတိုင်းနဲ့ပဲသိတော့ပါစီဆိုပြီးတော့ရှုမှတ်တာတကူလုံးတော့လှုပ်တာပဲပေါ်တဲ့မှာပြင်းထန်ပေါ်တာ။နောက်အဲ့ဒါကိုကျော်လွှတ်သွားနိုင်ပါတယ်ကျော်လွှတ်သွားပြီးတော့နောက်ဆုံးအဲ့ဝိညာဉ်လည်းချုပ်ငိမ့်သွားတယ် အဲ့တော့ဒကမာကြီးပဲကြုံလို့ရှိရင်ဒကမာကြီးတက်တောင်တက်တာနဲ့မှာဣရိယာပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တော့ဒကမာကြီးထိုင်မှိုက်လို့မနဲ့လှဲနေလည်းမှတ်ပါလှဲနေလည်းမှတ်ပါလှဲမှိုက်နေလည်းဝေဒနာအဲ့ပေါ်လာဆိုရင်တော့ပေါ်တယ်ငါလေးကိုယ်ကခံစားနေရဆိုတော့မရှိပါစေနဲ့ခံစားသူရှိခံစားခြင်းနဲ့ခံစားမှုကိုသိနေတဲ့နှစ်ခုပဲရှိနေပါစေ
တင်ပါဗျာ
ခံစားခြင်းဝေဒနာနဲ့ခံစားခြင်းကိုသိနေတဲ့ရှုမှတ်တဲ့စိတ်ကလေးနှစ်ခုပဲကြံပါစေ
တင်ပါဗျာ
နောက်ထပ်မေးဦးမလား15မိနစ်တော့ကြော်သွားပါပြီကဲမေးစရာရှိရင်အာမနာပါနဲ့
ဒီတော့ပြဆရာတော်ဘုရားကြီးမှာညနေနဲ့ည7 နာရီကျော်နေပါပြီဗျာ
ဟုတ်ပြီเนาะကဲကျမ်းမှာချမ်းသာကြပါစေတရားတကူနဲ့ချမ်းသာရေးမှာကိုရကြပါစေ
ยาธัมมานุธัมมาปฏิปติยาโอยันอิมายาธัมมานุธัมมาปฏิปติยาธัมมาอิมายาธัมมานุธัมมาปฏิปติยาImaya Manu Buddha Vadipatiya Madhayo Imaya Manu Buddha Vadipatiya Asiri Imaya Paripadaya Salamama Parimosejami Idane Punya Asavakaya Wadu Idane Sila Megavadanya Nasa Pajayo Waju Imano Punyama Samasana Dima Sabe Sada Shukira Mondu Everybody will have the same time and Sayadaw will have second same time tomorrow.
No,
8 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Hawaii time 8 o'clock. Yeah, tomorrow.
အေး
8
a.m.
8 a.m.
9 a.m. ပြောင်းတာဆရာတော်
8 a.m. နဲ့ထားမယ်လို့ပြော
Hawaii time 8 a.m.
Hawaii
ဒီစံ
time
တော်ချင်းဘယ်ချိန်တော့ဒီကစံတော်ချင်း
ဆရာတော် okay
9 နိုင်ဆိုဆရာတော်ကနေ့လည်တနာရီပါရှိပြ
နေ့လည်
အင်တာဗျူးမဟုတ်လားအဲ့ဒါက
No
ဟုတ်ပါတယ် closing ceremony ပါ
closing ceremony.
ဟောဘုန်းမနေ့ပြန်တရားဟောစရာမရှိတော့ဘူးပေါ့
လည်းပြန် closing ပါပဲဆရာတော်တရားချင်းများ
နောက် closing ceremony မှာဆရာတော်တရားချင်းမြတ်ပါဗျာ
တရားချင်းများဘယ်နာရီတော့တနာရီနော်
နေ့လည်တနာရီနဲ့ငါရှင်ပြရှင်စာကိုတဲ့တရားလေးဟောပေးနေတာ
နေ့လေတနာရီဆိုတော့1 hour 1 o'clock နော်ရပါတယ်စူးစမ်းပါမယ်ဘုန်းတို့ဘယ်မှသွားစရာတော့မရှိပါဘူး
မှာ
မနေ့ကတော့ရှင်ကဗမာလူ
မာလူများဟောပေးလို့ရလား
ဟောရပါတယ်อืม
အဆင်ပြေလားရှင်
อืม
ဆရာ announce လုပ်ရရုံးကြီးမြန်မာ
မြန်မာ
ဓမ္မ cross
Tomorrow lecture will be in Burmese language. Sayadaw Dhamma will be given not in English but in Myanmar Burmese language.
and Hawaii 8 o'clock time 8
And
a.m.
Hawaii time is 8 a.m.
California 11 a.m.
California is 11 a.m. Michigan time is
1 p.m.
1 p.m. up there.
ဟုတ်ပြီ
Sa